Okay, so here we go. We're going to continue on with section 12.1. I think this is very cool. This is new to you. Hopefully it's new to you. The arithmetic means basically are the terms between any two non-consecutive terms of an arithmetic sequence. Lots of big words in there, but basically what's happening is if you take the 5 and the 60, 5 is obviously the first term and 60 is the last term, and everything in between there is an arithmetic mean. So the 16, 27, 38, and 49 are arithmetic means between 5 and 60. So any two numbers that you take, like I could take 5 and 38, 16 and 27 are their arithmetic means between 5 and 38. So that's what it's actually saying. And this is actually very, very cool. I like these types of problems. And again, hopefully they're new to you. Because I really just think that they're cool. I don't know, I can't get rid of that thing. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's do an example with that, with the arithmetic mean. We want to write an arithmetic sequence that has 5 arithmetic means between 4.9 and 2.5. So what's happening there is 4.9 is my first term. Then I have these 5 terms in between there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in between there, and then 2.5 is on the end. So this question is asking me to complete that, basically. I need to figure out what my D is so that I can figure out what's going on there. Okay, finally got that down there. Okay, so I'm still going to use that same formula that I've used before. It's the A sub n. I know my last term is 2.5. My first term is 4.9, but I don't know my D. I don't know my D, so that's what I'm going to solve for. And then my n minus 1 I do know, because if I have 4.9 as first, 2.5 as last, and there's 5 in between, then there have to be 7 total. So I'm going to use a 7 minus 1. So n is 7. 2.5 is my 7th term. And I can do that just by counting or just by looking at what's going on in my problem. All right, so now I'm going to solve this thing for D. So I'm going to subtract the 4.9 from both sides, and that gets me negative 2.4 equals, and then 7 minus 1 is just 6, so I have 6D on the right-hand side. Just divide both sides by 6, and you get a negative 0.4 for your D. So that's not the answer to the question. The answer to the question is, what is the arithmetic sequence? So again, I want to finish up my arithmetic sequence. So I have 4.9 as my first term, and I'm going to subtract 0.4 from each term. So then I would go to 4.5, then a 4.1, and again, I'm just subtracting 0.4 from each one. So then I would go to 3.7, 3.3, 2.9, and then I end up at my 2.5. Now that is just a cool problem, and hopefully you haven't seen that before. If you have, I'm bummed because I thought I was showing you something new. Anyway, I like it. Decimals are a little annoying, as usual, but it would be way more fun with fractions. Absolutely. Okay, so last example here. Example 5, find the sum of the first 60 terms. So we really haven't done any series yet. We've only done the sequences. So now we're doing a series. So we have this series, which it starts at 9 and goes to 304, and we're going to add that up. So we're going to actually find the sum of it. We're going to add up all those numbers. Now, of course, I'm not going to sit there and add all those numbers together. I'm not going to figure out what's missing in between the 19 and the 304 and add them together. We're going to use that formula that you copied down in the beginning. So that formula is S sub n equals n over 2 times a1 plus an. All right, so you have to have obviously all that information. You have to know what position 304 holds. How many terms are there in that entire series? We don't know. So we're going to use the other formula to figure that out. So on the side, as a sidebar, you know, I know what a sub 1 is, and I know what a sub n is, but I don't know what n is. So I have to solve for n. So I'm going to use that other formula. The a sub 1 equals, sorry, I lied. A sub n equals A1 plus D times n minus 1 to solve for n. So my last term is 304. My first term is 19. And then what's happening from one term to the next, I'm adding 5. So 5 is my D. And then n minus 1. So I'm solving this formula for n. So if I subtract the 9 and distribute the 5, I get 295 equals 5n minus 5. Add the 5 to both sides and divide by 5. So 60 is my n. So 304 holds the 60th position in that equation. So if you were to just keep adding 5 each time until you got to 304, you would have to do that 60 times and keep adding. Again, very annoying. So I'm finding the sum of the first 60 terms. So it's going to be 60 over 2 times my first term, which is 9, plus my last term, which is 304. Okay, so I see my mistake over here. It was not a 19, it was a 9. Got it, I'm fixing it. Okay, all is well. I did the math right though, so yay. Okay, so 60 over 2 is 30. 9 plus 304 is 313. And then I just multiply those two guys together and I get 9390. Woohoo! So if I were to add all those things up, I should end up with 9390 when I add them together. Formula is way easier. Even when you have to do both sets of them, you know, I mean, just looking at that arithmetic series, you have to figure a few things out, but way easy because they're formulas. Formulas are wonderful things. All right, see you tomorrow in class. We'll do some practice problems on this stuff. Thank you very much. Have a good night.